How you doing, everyone? Welcome back to NRL Fantasy Analysis. We're going to be reviewing all of the Draftstars matchups for this week, and I just jumped in and did little play for fun free ones just so I could review this a little bit better for you this week. And we'll jump in for the Titans and the Tigers game in on that Thursday night, and that was a real tough one if we're being honest. We'll just compare the selections that I had put forward for you guys. And in the outside backs, I thought, Corey Thompson coming back would come out and play really well. This game just didn't flow the way that I thought it would. It was obviously, one of the worst games we've seen in a good while. And my outside backs that I thought would do pretty well. Thompson, someone who averages 40 plus usually, and unfortunately got 18.9. And then Ollie Gildart had been scoring really well. And I thought against a Titans team that hasn't been amazing, he'd be able to score well also. But they actually went down the right side, and James Roberts had his random, really, really good game. So you can see the person that won this in Sock 74 had Roberts there. So that was odd. Toby Sexton had his first real off game of the year, which wasn't expected. We thought the Titans would come out and do a lot better, and they didn't. Fafita was okay again without being spectacular. We thought there was a chance of him getting 40s or going nuts. And this game was not set up for him, and they continue to not go to him. So he might be just someone just to leave out of your squads at the moment and get some better value elsewhere. Offhand Galway did really well again, so 40 for him. We're hoping for somewhere around that mark, which is good. Jockey Madden was my sort of must-have player there, and he got 46.77. So I suppose that one helped. And if you played this one and you built your team around Madden being that cheaper guy and could go around that, then that was great also. Peachy got sin bin and stuff, so it wasn't a great game for my selections there, but that's okay. That happens, unfortunately, and I imagine not many of you guys would have went too well anyway. The Sharks and the Knights wasn't too much better. Thinking that Ponga could come back and do fairly well, he ended up with a 3.8, that expensive price. Dom Young wasn't too great either. Obviously, he was very much dominated by Sharks players, and I thought this game would be a little bit closer, and unfortunately, it wasn't. So if you started with Talakai, he was absolutely electric. So I didn't pick him this week, and he's someone who's going to be on the radar from here on in. Just as a player that was was higher a price in terms of the cheaper guys that you could select. In the centers, usually doesn't score as well, but he's back, guys. He's really, really back. So he was great. Nico Hines was okay without being spectacular. Teague Wilton was good. Brody Jones played less minutes than we would have thought. And Leo Thompson, again, started really well. And then his second stint, he got missed a few tackles and didn't go so great. Chris Randall, dominated with the tackles, which was obviously good for him. I selected Kurt Mann as a potential option. And he was solid. Adam Clune also did well. So if you built your team around those guys, then that was great. But other than that, wasn't a super effort again from the guys selected. Again, most of them scoring well under what they had normally been scoring, which was unfortunate. So that was that game there, and well done to Lion Co in the free one there for doing well. We'll move on to the next one. So we had the Panthers and the Rabbitohs, and again, nothing special for me in this one. Obviously, Cam Murray was someone that we selected as a really important one. The outside backs that I'd plugged in here didn't work out for me. I'd spent a little bit more money up top, but that was that. If you went for Alex Johnson, then that was obviously good, even though they even though they got beat. Damien Cook had his best game of the year as well. So building your team around Cleary just didn't work out the best. If you went away from Nath in his first game back, then that worked out well. He won't score any lower than that on a regular basis. So the 50 will be definitely a low for him. Now, Kolomatangi, Totola, Jerome Luai, all guys I spoke about a little bit and did solidly there, but it's just the outside backs that killed us there. Well done to Andy, who just, decided to go with Jacob Host, which again was probably a lucky pick, and he ended up coming on in the second minute and playing out the rest of the game. So there's obviously a lot of luck in this, guys, and Taylor May, we didn't expect him to come out and after scoring 3 tries, score a double. So well done to Andy for selecting that. That was that game there. A few decent picks and a few average ones as well, which can happen. So Warriors and the Broncos, we'll work through that one now. So this was a better one for my selections. So Reece Walsh is someone I said to build your team around and was pretty close to a must-have, and he got 56.6. Jesse Arthurs I also spoke about in this one, and Adam Reynolds. So 3 guys that I said that would be great decisions. Obviously, if you went with Paddy Carrigan, he only got the 25 minutes, which killed him. He was absolutely dominating and would have propelled me to a much higher rank, for example. Payne Haas, if you built the team around him, which was definitely an option. I just went for Paddy. I didn't have as much cash because I spent it a little bit elsewhere. Payne with 82.6 obviously benefited a little bit from Carrigan going down. So yeah, he obviously was saying to build your team around him as well. So overall, that was a pretty good one. TC Rabadi ended up starting, and he was a little bit of a cheaper option to go for also. That was that one. And we'll move on to the Seagulls Raiders. In this one here, our selections, we had DCE being a pretty important one, and showed again why he was so good. Obviously, unfortunately, in Draftstars, you don't get the 40-20 stats, so that would have bumped him up a lot further. In terms of outside backs, we went for Tomoko and also Kotrick, who both went okay without breaking the bank and being beneficial for you as much. Davey was that cheaper option we spoke about, so he ended up doing pretty well. I tried to spread my money a little bit more out there. Horsburgh was solid, like we spoke about, so he ended up going better than Kepi if you picked him. That would have been a good option. If you're looking on the winner circle, Whiten was really, really strong. Jordy Rapana, we said that he could do solidly in that mid-tier price. But other than that, Tommy Turbo with a 54 scored okay for his price, but overall, just it was a really consistent game from a lot of these. And if you went for Cooler, he was the last minute in for Brad Parker, who ended up with COVID. So if you went for him at the cheap price, you could spend a bit more money elsewhere, which was good too. So that's that. And Starling didn't get the big minutes that we were hoping for. Hopefully that changes, because I don't see them going so well with him in that position, playing Frawley for 20 minutes or 25 minutes and then Starling coming on. I think it's a bit silly. Anywho, moving to the Cowboys game, and coming off the back of how Val Holmes went last week, we had him as a selection. Joey Manu had the best game of his, one of the better games of his career with 2 tries, 2 try assists. He was awesome. So 57.7 for him. So if you went for that option, that would have been cool. Chatty was okay without being spectacular. Again, they got beat pretty bad. He got sin-binned. 3 guys on the Cowboys got sin-binned. Same with Tom Gilbert. Been playing big minutes, and he unfortunately doesn't play anywhere near as good as he did. Siwa Takeaho also just lower minutes again, and just didn't score very well. If you went for Radley, which was again out of character for him, he'll probably go back to a 30s odd score from here on in. I selected Tupanua. He did okay, but really overall it wasn't a great game fantasy wise, if we're being honest. A couple of good Roosters guys, but even the halves for them were low in Walker and Keary. So that was that one there. And last couple of games, we got the Storm and the Dogs. And if you went for Pap, which I spoke about building your team around, then you obviously were in this game. And if you didn't have Pap, then you were not in this game. But, spoke about Munster being a really, really good option, and he just, flopped a little bit. It was all through the middle there. Even guys like Harry Grant didn't go so great. Like 52 was solid, but, overall could have done a lot better. Hughes was okay as well if you're looking at him. But, Bromwich had only 27 minutes. Coates was a good option as well. I, spoke about him a little bit. Corey Waddell coming to the starting side was also solid. But if you look to the Italia's team there, obviously Pangai Jr. ended up with a big score, for example, really, really helped. You could, McDonald's efforts off the bench was okay for that cheaper price, but overall, just a few guys down, a few guys up in this one. So if you're on the right side of those, like Brandon Smith was a bit lower, considering he's been scoring really well. But anything around Pat was going to be pretty good in this one. So good luck. We'll hope you did all right in that one. Let me know in the comments, guys, how you've been going in all these matchups. And the last one, the Eels Dragons. So someone I spoke about that could do pretty well was going to be Dylan Brown after his amazing efforts last week. I decided to go a little bit cheap. I just wanted to try and get Ben Hunt in and I went a little bit cheaper in the half position and the flex. So that obviously didn't work out with them but Penasini and Opacek were great picks from myself, and I hope you got around them at that cheaper price point. Nathan Brown as well, spoke about him. So this was kind of one I said Ice Paps Papali'i here, spoke about him, building your team around him. So he was solid without being really, really good. But really you need to go either a Dylan Brown or Brown and Moses to kind of win this one, which is what CC's did. The 84 and the 91 for those two guys was really, really cool. Wonga Blake. So anyone in the outside backs for the Eels. And again, that's what you're seeing, guys, in these daily fantasy. If you're going to be making selections, trying to pick the team that's going to win the game pretty comfortably is going to be much more beneficial, especially in the outside backs. That's how you can really build a strong team and win these competitions. So that was that, guys. Let me know if I helped you out in this at all. If my selections haven't been great, let me know as well. But I hope you enjoyed this review, and you're getting a lot out of this learning, and we'll get better and better as the weeks progress. But I hope you enjoyed that. See you guys.